Hello, good morning, happy Sunday, and happy Earth Month. I'm here at MowGreen HQ, and I'm with a VIP visitor. We're going to meet and talk about sustainable lawn care, particularly blowers. Who am I with today?
Hello guys, I'm Dr. Yaniv Chen from Neurological Specialists, and I will be here today with Dan to talk about the health consequences of gas blowers and other machinery that's used in landscaping today.
All right, well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, what is an old IT professional and a doctor of neurology, what are they doing focusing on zero emission lawn care? There's a lot at stake. There's a lot of problems. But let's begin the tour. Yaniv hasn't been here yet, and point out a few wonderful things. We try to do everything green. Here we have a Prius low emission and high MPG, and we actually tow aluminum trailers when we can. Not always possible, so we have an old news van which has a generator under the hood. We don't really use it, but we can plug that vehicle in. It's wired. It's got an inverter, and it charges batteries off the alternator. It's pretty neat. Right down to the mulch, we make the right choices. This is local hardwood, so it's sustainably sourced. It's from around here, and it's double ground, so it breaks down quickly, but there's no manure in it, so it does actually reduce weeds pretty well. So just worth a quick look. So what do you say we go inside, Yaniv?
Let's do it.
All right, take a look around. MowGreen HQ in the Candy Construction Building.
You want to put the lights on?
Yes, we have a few batteries here. And now, Yaniv, you were saying that you use some electric gear too?
Yeah, definitely. I use the same equipment that you show here from Ego, and I use it in my home. I have 2 acres, and I actually do a lot of the work myself with this machinery, and it works great. It lasts me at least an hour, at least for the blower, and before I need another charge. So the batteries are definitely coming along and getting better and better.
Nice. And I guess when you're not spewing the equivalent pollution of 20 tailpipes as you do your work, it can be zen-like. It can be relaxing and good exercise.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that the neighbors appreciate it too.
Well, let's have a look at the fleet of commercial mowers. We've got some stand-ons, some riders. We actually have a rider that's 6 feet wide. Some are 4 feet wide, 5 feet wide, and they all have lithium batteries under the hood, and these guys will run for 5 to 7 hours. How long does it take? You mow about an acre at your place?
Yeah, almost 2 acres, and yeah, it takes time. I don't do it myself, but I think it takes about an hour at least, right? It makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, that's about right. So in general, people can do an acre an hour. A machine like this running 5 to 7 hours can do 5 to 7 acres, maybe 8 in a day. Well, actually, the star of the environmental show is really the blower. It's one of the harder tools to power adequately to give the force that some people want. So we have a lot of handheld blowers and a lot of other handheld tools. Those are balanced, very easy to use. We have a woman working for us who sometimes takes one in each hand.
Wow.
So, and if you had a skateboard and you pointed backwards, you could propel yourself. So, really going to a backpack blower with 800 CFM is really quite a bit of force, and it does eliminate the need to use gas. Now, this one's an antique. This is kind of cool. This was a 2015 model. It's 500 CFM, and it actually works quite well. You drop the half-hour, 40-minute battery in the back, and now this one you can plug the batteries into each side, And I picked up a couple of 12 amp batteries. This thing runs a long time on 10 or 12 amp batteries. Now, Yaniv, do you have some thoughts on why the use of high force blowers is an issue for public health?
Well, sure, Dan. Other than the fact that it throws a lot of particulate matter into the air that cause respiratory, cardiovascular disease, and neurological disease over time, it also throws all kinds of debris from the ground. If you think about what's in the ground and the things we put in the ground and just the things that nature puts in the ground and we blow into the air, including allergens, including all kinds of infectious agents, including all kinds of chemicals and dust, then we are just sending it into the air that everybody breathes around us. So this is beyond just the pollution, which, by the way, 1 hour of these gas blowers can blow up to the equivalent of a car driving 1,000 miles, which is extraordinary if you start thinking about how many blowers you use in your neighborhood or people use in your neighborhood.
Well, that's a nice segue into really a lot of the motivation for us being in business. Of course, it's been 19 years. But when the EPA said that the use of gasoline lawn care created the pollution equivalent of a car on the road, or 12,000 auto emission miles annually per average home, third of an acre, then I realized, wow. And they said at the time that it represented 5% of our greenhouse gases nationwide. Now, since then, things have gotten worse, and I think it's closer to 10% of our pollution. If you understand that our pollution, our greenhouse gases go up 1 or 2, sometimes 3 on a bad year % annually, then we are working on converting an industry away from gasoline and to electric, which, even if it's charged with fossil fuels, saves 70% of the emissions. But there's more and more renewable energy all the time. So we're closer to 95% emissions abatement by going electric. So with that in mind, it gives hope. We can change one industry, which represents 10% of our air pollution. If we can change half that industry, we can avoid 5% of our greenhouse gases that are creating climate change. And imagine that, going net negative just by changing one industry. And I know there's many other areas that we can make changes in, but this is a good one, and we've done it. We'll do $1 million in lawn care, no gasoline devices. Now let's talk about the worst tool that creates the most pollution out of that, because as Yaniv just said, think about it. If you use a gas leaf blower for an hour, it's 1,000 miles in a car. Well, have you ever seen 5 guys on a lawn running those things for an hour? Yes, you have. That's about 5,000 miles. You look at the whole season, we're talking 10 or 12,000 auto emission miles or more because of gas lawn care. Not to mention how it makes me feel with the low frequency noise traveling long distance, penetrating walls, disrupting cognition, and raising blood pressure. How do we do less blowing? Because, Yaniv talked about issues with blowing and particulate matter, things like that. Well, electric blowing is better, but it shares some of the issues, not the pollution issues, not the noise issues. Low frequency, it's high frequency, it's much less disturbing. But we don't want to blow up a bunch of feces and everything else that we. Geez, I'm depriving people of your handsome face. We don't want to blow. Blowing blows. So how do we do less blowing? And but before we go there, think about it. These blowers are now doing 800 CFM, 200 mile an hour winds, 765 CFM, 180 mile an hour winds. I think that's enough. Do you want to bring somebody onto your property who's going to apply more force and actually desiccate your lawn and destroy the wildlife and blow even more around? No. So let's cap it. Let's get some strategies for doing less blowing. Well, first of all, let's take a look at one of these mowers. This, oh no, you're looking at me. Stop that. Now here is a mower with a rear discharge, 6-foot deck, and it's got mulching baffles. If you left some whole leaves in your beds and you blew a few or raked a few lightly off of the lawn into the beds for natural mulch, that's free, that takes no transportation, then you can grind up the bulk of the leaves that are on the lawn. Go on a nice day when those leaves are dry. Don't wait till they're piled deep and wet. And you can go grind them up. Feed the soil. Free mulch. And so there's free mulch in your beds, and there's also free compost on your lawn. It's going to decompose. So the first step in avoiding blowers is mulch mowing. Now, there's also leaf plowing. You've got a big property and you've got a lot of leaves, and you got to move them into ideally a compost pile rather than a vacuum truck to shred them. You can add a simple mount to the front of the mower. Now here is a hero of the equipment suite. This is a leaf plow. You mount that on the front of a mower and you can move mountains of leaves really quickly into a place to decompose. And leaf plows reduce blowing. We want to reduce blowing. And last but not least, you've got a tow behind leaf sweepers. You can mulch mow those leaves, sweep up the extra with these tow behind units that connect to these bags that hold almost a yard. And of course, if you reduce your leaves 15-1 by mulch mowing them and sweep them, then you're moving a lot of leaves rather quickly. I'm going to have to insert a picture of one of these things from an assembled unit, because you really can't get the picture here. But that's leaf sweepers.
We can show them how it works too, a video of how you work that.
Yeah, we'll put a clip in from an action video. But yeah, leaf sweepers, leaf plows, mulch mowing, all ways to, and leaving whole leaves in beds, taking your free mulch. These are all ways to do less blowing. Less blowing is better. Electric blowing is better than gas leaf blowing by far, but less blowing is better. All right. Well, the mowers, you buy an electric mower, you get a 25% return on investment, a lot less maintenance. I'm not counting intangibles. And I think I have a brother in cost-benefit analysis here in Yaniv, because he was quick to point out. What did you say?
Well, we talked about the intangible costs, and we talked about the intangible health costs. And if you are a landscaper and you are letting people use this equipment on a daily basis, there are intangible health costs that may come back to you in the future. There's a lot of studies now about the effects on health, including cardiovascular health, dementia, respiratory disease. And like in many industries, when the knowledge becomes, is put out there to the public, then comes other consequences such as lawsuits, because people will be sick, and there will be a lot of people in the landscape industry looking for help with their bills, their health bills in the future. I think that that's something that we have not thought of yet, but we will see more and more of in the upcoming years.
Yeah, it reminds me of the flow of inbound litigation at R.J. Reynolds years ago. Being victimized by landscape noise and pollution is very similar to being trapped in a restaurant with a cigarette smoker. So we're going to move. So thank you. I do hard cost ROI to acid test purchase. I've done it for the IT industry, and I've done it for lawn care gear. So it's kind of easy to rationalize the purchase on hard costs. But when you count the intangibles, the return on investment for going electric over gasoline powered gear is probably triple digits. Where can you make 5%? Where can you make 10%? Where can you make 100% return on your investment? Now let's talk about blowers. That seems to be the trickiest point with most resistance. Now these blowers are 765 CFM. You can buy them for $500 with two powerful batteries and a super fast charger. Now most bands begin just by asking for some peace and quiet during the summertime. There's so much resistance, people don't generally ban the blowers for the entire season, but they turn them off in the summer. How much do you need to use a blower in the summertime? Not much. So you can spend $500, okay, buy even more batteries and chargers. You can spend $1,000. You'll make 50% return on your investment compared to using a gas-powered leaf blower. And it's important to note that it costs about 4 times as much to operate a gas-powered leaf blower as it does to operate an electric.
I think, Dan, we can also add to that gas prices will be volatile in the near future. We're already seeing that. So we're probably the gap is going to grow as far as the cost to use gas for these machines as opposed to electricity. And also I believe that the maintenance on these are probably less because they're less complex motors. And that the only thing you have to switch in the future is the battery. And batteries are getting better and better. We will see batteries that are not lithium based, that are salt based, that are solid based or solid based batteries that would probably charge longer and will be easily replaceable at lower costs. So I think that we have to look into the next 10 years as a changing dynamic that's favoring electricity over gasoline based machinery.
Right. And the point is, you can do it today. MowGreen does 60 acres a week, and we don't use any gas leaf blowers. So we are the poster example. But don't take our word for it. There's hundreds of other companies that have gone all electric, and we have some partners in our own EON Electric Organic Native Alliance. So let's talk about the resistance to the electric blowers from a financial perspective. Now here again, this is a powerful backpack blower that runs for half an hour or more with batteries. Now you might buy one of these for $700 with a pair of pretty good batteries. You might spend another $1,000 or $2 getting extra charging and extra batteries so you can blow all day, even in the fall. Now, what does that mean financially for you? Well, you're going to be buying some fuel in advance, but you can still earn about 25% return on your investment. Where you're going to make money on your money, not by purchasing more gas-powered leaf blowers. And Yaniv mentioned the benefits. There's so many benefits of electric over gas and what the future holds. Not to mention compliance with a lot of the laws that have come around.
Right.
Now, there's a last level of cost resistance. Now, all our customers say, go ahead and charge at our outlets, and it's about 26 cents a battery to get yourself another half hour, 40 minutes of blowing capacity, and people don't care. We charge at their outlets. However, let's do the math on whether you want to treat your vehicle like an RV. Wire it, plug it in, get a backup battery, put a little solar on the roof, have an alternator charger. Well, if you do that, you might invest $5,000 into that vehicle, but that vehicle is going to support 2 or 3 heavy blowing staff. And when you do the math on that, you still make double-digit return on your investment in electric. Ditch the gas. It does not make financial sense.